Rashri, I have already shared that link with you, which Dhritiraj has shared with me.
Yes, I am going there. Oh, there are so many.
Yeah, Dhritiraj.
So I just want to introduce something which my brother and I have been working, because he's a telecom engineer. It's a very different field from my side. So he looks at 4G. He previously worked on 4G and implementation of 4G in Bangalore. He worked with Ericsson for many years. So his experience, he has 10 years of experience in telecom engineering. And currently he's in the UK. He's in London, and he works on 5G installment and 5G uh, technology with different companies, and so he's in the research and development and looking into how it works. So he was telling me that one of the main thing there is they need to have geospatial data, because in 5G they use millimeter wave, which requires obviously a high accuracy spatial geospatial data set, and they use their company. They have their own tool, right, which has data layers. For example, a digital elevation model, which gives you terrain data, a vegetation data set, which gives you if the vegetation is quite dense or sparse, or basic urban data set, and then a 3D model of buildings, because that's something is very crucial because we all live in buildings and signal needs to reach there. So that these are the key data set they need, data layers. And one of the things is there are no very few tools. So companies like Huawei and Ericsson and Vodafone or Airtel, they build their own. And this is something has a commercial aspect to it. It's not in the open source domain at the moment. I'm not sure about it. But this is something I was willing to discuss and then to see, because I have the geospatial domain knowledge. My brother has the engineering, 5G and technical knowledge. But the help I was looking at is developing that user interface, or the like a software, for example, like a tool. So that in that context, I have shared, which my brother shared with me, the website where they simply built that tool by combining a digital elevation model, a digital terrain model, a digital surface model with a 5G propagation, signal propagation, and how it propagates through the atmosphere, or through the atmosphere. It's still not there, so it's not there at the moment. So there are many other layers which could be added, and in order to make it more comprehensive. Um, so this is something I wanted to discuss, and it has a commercial aspect to it. So yeah, I'm not sure how many of you would be willing to work on it. So the help which my brother and I are seeking or working with others is, we don't have experience in merging, in building a tool, in building a software, a user interface, so data integration. So I know how to calculate or build a digital surface model. I know how to get building footprints from OpenStreetMap. Um, and also, like, if in future we have data on lidar or drones from a third party or by ourselves, how to integrate that in our tool, and then to also have the 5G data set coming in, and then to integrate that in the tool as well. So the thing which I was looking for is in that side. Yeah, Rohit, you want to say something?
Yeah. Rashri, have you understood what is the scope, what we are discussing? Okay, I'll share what I
Yeah,
have understood.
so what I understand that we are trying to map the available data so that we can use it for 5G commercial purposes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I've understood, I'll just quickly share, and I think this we discussed last time also. Me and Dhitraj, actually, on the first initial call that we both had, we discussed this. My understanding was that I seriously thought your brother was somebody in college in Guwahati or something. Okay,
Oh,
because I
no.
remember that was our. Because I remember I was talking to you about Guwahati University and something.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, uh, uh, that is what my thought process was. Okay, now that you've told me that your brother has already got a lot of experience in telecom, uh,
Yes.
what I want to understand is what exactly is the scope of the engagement? What is it that you want from us? I am unable to still gather. Uh,
So
because
the
what you're talking about is quite spread out this thing. So you are talking about a telecom organization which is basically using information to establish their cell tower units. Where is that? In Assam, in India, or somewhere else?
no. So the tool. So this tool is used anywhere besides, like, if you have the data set, because it covers a global data set or a regional or a city level data set. So it's aimed at an Indian market, or aimed at, that's what we have not decided where to be done.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll be testing it at a particular city like New Delhi, for example.
Understood, understood. So I understand. So what you're basically saying is that in today's date, most telecom organizations are doing this in-house within their,
Yes,
closed this thing premise. What
yes,
you're looking at is to have a offering which is basically neutral for any organization. Any of these organizations can use it.
yes.
And why hasn't somebody come out with this already? Because after you shared whatever you shared with me, I've gone ahead and done some snooping around, and what I could make out was that there are publications which are there from right from 2000 2001, and
Hmm.
even the TRAI and the Telecom Regulatory Authority and everybody, they are aware as to what these things are. So why do you think
Hmm.
there is not only offering right now, like maybe somebody, some organization like TCS or HCL, or maybe even somebody like Microsoft, Accenture, somebody would have already come up with such an offering, right? Why is it not there in the commercial space? Or maybe it is there
To be
and
honest, yeah, for that question, I need to cross check with my brother. Like, in India, or for example, in India, which companies they already have this tool, or doing this kind of commercial business. I've not done a market research on the availability of tools like these tools yet. I just found this one because my brother shared with me, and also there's a lot of scope to improve of these, like, to improve these tools, because um, including geospatial data set is very new in telecom sector because of millimeter waves. It was not needed at higher resolution as it needed in 5G or even 6G, which is coming in next few years. So as we proceed to a more higher frequency L band uh, it's synthetic aperture, but you're looking at a wavelength of a higher millimeter wavelength, and so as you go along in that range, you need a more data set, you need more spatial data set, you need accurate with building heights, for example, with a very accurate tree height and tree density, those sort of data set, and it was not needed until few years back because it's millimeter wave. That's the reason. That's what my understanding is at the moment, but I have to get more clarity from him about where what sort of tool there are in India, and what are they doing, what HCL or Microsoft they are doing. But as of
no, no.
now,
No, no. I am again saying the same thing. See, it's very simple. It's not about the organizations that I'm naming. Let's just take example of any of these telecom companies. Okay.
They have
Firstly,
their own.
yeah, they will have their own, and this kind of data is probably proprietary data. So why would somebody like, say, maybe Airtel or somebody like UI firstly want to share it with the other organization, or why would they even want? These are huge companies, they have no limit of budget. Why would they even want to use something which is available in public space? Public space in the sense, anybody who has made it. Let me take an example. If I think of like Airtel, Airtel is they've got no limit to funding. They've got no limit to talent. Why will Airtel even approach somebody like TCS or Infosys and say, "Yeah, you make this for me"? Why won't they make it on their own? So that is my question. So, uh, okay, if you say that for experimentation for something, like this Zero thing, whatever is there, Zero online. Uh,
Hmm.
I googled whole lots about it. It's not something which is a very very high level product. So somebody in some weird place is sitting and using it, and using it for maybe some experimental this thing. Maybe they are not using it for production work. Maybe they are. I don't know what they are using it for. Also, I'm not. I understand it's a very very relevant product. I don't understand the technicality of it. Neither do I understand the algorithms or whatever are running through it. I try to Google around a little. But I understand that I'm sure telecom organizations of that large this thing might not want to use something which is outside their own control, is what I think. But still, so if you think as an experimental thing we want to do this project, let's do it. I am totally okay with it. I'm sure everybody else would be very interested. The few people who have not been able to join on the call, they showed a lot of interest when I spoke with them. I shared that link with them, so people are interested. Let me assure you that. But I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
understand your concern. I understand your concern. I need to get more clarity about that from my brother. Is what I understand is it's in the. I think Airtel and everyone they have it. Of course, if you look at that website, have is that they also provide data set freely, like which is in the public space. They charge money for things like the data set they collect using lidar or drones. So it's about the resolution, it's about the accuracy of data set. um, so that's the commercial aspect for it, and also most of these tool they lack something. They lack in geospatial interpretations, they lack in their digital elevation accuracy, they lack in data set of buildings and spatial distribution of road network, or even a very good vegetation data set. So the accuracy is what matters in that. So my brother was telling me the tool they use, they don't have data set on rainfall, for example, on because that affects a lot. They don't have data set on vegetation, for example. So that there is this data gap in there, and that's there because there is this gap of geospatial uh, uh, technology in telecom, at least according to him, at least in the company where he is working. So, and I think if he is saying that in his company there is this gap, I feel that then there is a gap overall in a big scale. But I have to confirm with him what sort of
See,
gap is
Dhritiraj,
there.
my 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 background in the sense, in a capacity, not as a developer, not even as an engineer, but in a capacity of something else altogether. I've worked very closely with people in telecom. Okay,
Okay.
telecom is highly funded. Telecom
Mm.
has got a lot of funding. Telecom, within any organization, telecom has got loads and loads of money, and very deep pockets. So I can't really, so okay, when you say that, okay, rainfall data is not there, or when you say vegetation data is not there, or something specific which you understand as a gap, being from the geospatial space, if you think that there is a gap, I can agree with you. I agree. Okay, maybe they have not done that right now. They've not implemented it right now. It's okay. That's a different story altogether. But let's say they have not done it. In today's date, you believe that, maybe we as a group, or you taking somebody else's. Rashri, can you mute your microphone, please? Yeah, Aman, I will speak again. You let me know in case there is still an echo. Aman is getting an echo on his end. Thank you, Rashri. Thank you. So, in case there is, this opportunity, I understand there could be an opportunity. So, how did this opportunity arise? Was it that maybe earlier there was lack of this kind of data, and now maybe this data is more freely available? So let's take that supposition for a second, and that could be maybe because of Google Earth, or maybe because of drones and lidar and other things. Now, if that is the situation, then maybe it is just a catch-up kind of a situation, that people have not implemented. Yeah, so maybe they have not implemented it as of now. So
But
again, they will, right? So if you want to play, okay, if you want to play catch up with these guys, we
No,
can
I'm
try
not
and do that.
catching up. No. Yeah, no, I understand that. And to be honest, it's also kind of also a practice to integrate this data set. It's because it's one of the applications of geospatial technology, and for me, it was my interest comes from applying the geospatial into various domains. So telecom is one of them. So that's how my interest come along, really.
Yeah, and I'm speaking from a very, very layman understanding right now. I do not have any understanding about this right now, but I'm just speaking from, yeah, I'm just speaking from the perspective of enterprise, how they work, and understanding as to how enterprise software is created, and how they basically implement. So competing there can be a big challenge, and coming up with a commercial offering should be considered next to impossible.
I understand.
Right.
Okay.
Kind of funding, how will you arrange for that kind of funding? If that kind of funding is available, then and again, if that kind of funding is available, then why approach a bunch of people who do not have experience in implementing something of that sort? You are looking at a project wherein the scoping of the project itself we will not be able to understand. I'm being very straightforward with you. Even the scoping of the project will not be yeah. So then let's talk about the the other one, wherein you said you wanted to do something with regards to the flood mapping and things to that effect. Yeah.
So the flood mapping is basically I have so it's based on Google Earth Engine. So I did. And it's from a paper recently published. I can share every detail later after the call. So that is basically to calculate the inundation. So after rainfall, how much area is inundated after rainfall, basically. And the idea is that this been happening for quite some time. We have Assam, we have floods every year. It's a long story, and it will happen this year as well, sadly. And but there is no mitigation, there is no planning behind it. It just happens everywhere every year. So since 2015, with Sentinel-1, you can have this 10-meter resolution data set. It goes till 2015 now. And the idea is that we will have a 5-year archive from now, okay? And then to create a dashboard, kind of a website where you can see this previous year inundated areas, and also with geospatial, what you can do, you can have planning layers. So not only you will have inundated areas for 5 years, but you will have road network, you will have population distribution, things data layers like that, and also a digital elevation model where you can see how's the elevation has changed, data set on river erosion. So you can see every year the flooding happens because the river changes its course after rainfall. So to monitor the river as well. So what I'm looking at is having that 5-year archive, and then to have a monitoring website, a monitoring plus planning website, a tool, a dashboard, basically. So it allows you to do a river-based, basin-based planning of floods. So, so that's the basic dashboard would look like. I have not sketched it out how it will look like in a way, but it will allow a user to do simple query, things like if I construct a road network, if the road, for example, to even estimate if there is this much amount of rainfall, keeping in mind of population and red road network, what would be the area of inundation, for example. And that could be calculated probably based on 5 years of data set. And as we go on, along, we will have more data set coming in every year. And that will improve our training, improve our calculation. So that's the general idea of flood monitoring database. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one we would want to start off with you immediately. So already there are guys like I can't say about Rashti and Aman because both of them I have not necessarily had an offline chat with them, but with others I have had an offline chat. We are ready to start off that with you immediately. Absolutely no problem.
Okay.
You
Okay.
just have to guide us as to what is the plan. Like you say, you need to sketch it out. The moment you
Yes.
sketch it out and the moment you've kind of put the base plan into place, we can start coding on that. That's not an issue. We would want to do that. Okay,
Yes.
that is one
Yes.
thing. The second thing I wanted to discuss was I got to see your video that you have delivered the lecture to Delhi University students, right?
Yes. 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 Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I got to see that video, and I was quite pleasantly surprised that you are talking about statistical models over there. I
Yeah.
think that is yeah. So the PPT, I think it is similar to the PPT that you shared with us, but I missed, I think, those harmonic models and other things that you mentioned over there. That is again something that we want to get involved in and participate in. So how should we do that?
Okay, so that talk was looking at time series analysis. Part of which was time series analysis. You look at in Earth Engine, what happens? They store data at a pixel base. So you look at one pixel, and so it can be 30 by 30, 10 by 10. But you look at one pixel, and then you see the change of one pixel over 30 years. Or then you can aggregate that pixels, and then you can look at a polygon and see the change over 30 years. And so you can do all those kind of statistics. So you do a linear model or harmonic, and this harmonic model, if you want to apply harmonic model, and actually IIT Mumbai and IIT Roorkee, people are actually started doing it, is for crop identification. And because what happens that every crop has a cycle so they use normalized difference vegetation index and enhanced vegetation index and soil moisture index. So all these index they mix together, and they see the seasonality and how the pixel behaves over the year, and they can do that with an archive of 30 years with Landsat data. So you have starting from 1990 till 1985 till 2018, and what you do that you see every season how this particular pixel has behaved over 30 years, and based on your knowledge about crop, you do crop identification. And that's something is very crucial in our agricultural sector. And and perhaps in future, which, as I said, I've not sketched it out, the flood idea. But to be honest, when there is a flood in Assam, it's not buildings or urban footprints we are losing. We are actually losing farmland. It's actually the farmers who suffer the most in Upper Assam. So thank you actually mentioned about harmonic modeling, but it's something that we could actually add it to the flood monitoring database to see that this is the area, because when you do a time series, you will see that harmonic modeling going this, but then if there is a flood, you will see that that pixel has behaved different, because if it's a vegetation pixel, if there's inundated with water, it will show a different pixel. I mean, different graph. It will show you in the graph. So by that you can see that anomaly coming out of it, and that could be very useful in crop mapping of even estimating how much crop has been inundated or destroyed. And then that could be used by governments to actually see that, okay, fine, they have lost 6 square kilometer of rice plantation, so this much money we have to pay them as a compensation. So that's like a whole um, application, like from start to end. Because I was working with a forest in Panchkula. I still have to resume that work because he wanted to monitor forest in Panchkula, and it's the same. I would like to take out is to monitor, is to have another dashboard for monitoring forest and soil moisture in forests of India. But that's something being done already. But there's still scope for improvement. But yeah, talking about floods, that's something to combine harmonic modeling, time series analysis with flood inundation mapping.
Yeah, so these two things, and also there is basis few information which I gathered from you and other things. There is a lot of stuff which is being done, I think, in some kind of planning for and they're using that cellular automata model, right?
Yeah,
So what
yeah, yeah,
exactly is
yeah. What exactly?
so I said, what exactly is that? And is that the NDVI or is that something else altogether? So,
The
that is
cellular,
quite interesting.
yeah, I think the cellular automata model is quite different. What I have read a few paper on cellular automata model is that they use it for urban expansion mapping. Um, I can share a few papers on that. I worked very little on cellular automata, but they actually predict the urban expansion of future based on a few layers. For example, road network or current urban footprint or population, and it maps a future state that keeping in mind these scenarios. This is how the future of city will look like, might look like. So cellular automata is this. According to my very little knowledge about it. But yeah, so the flood modeling involves lot of vegetation index. It has thresholding. Um, it uses a synthetic aperture radar. Um, so there is a lot of. I can share the code with you. It's open source. I will share it with the group, and then you can look at it, and then to make a simple dashboard by combining digital elevation model, layer, road network, just to make it more comprehensive, and so that we can do more query on it.
Yeah, because see, I saw somebody doing something on the Delhi this thing, Delhi area with this cellular
Yeah, I
automata
did.
and so the thought that struck me was after your discussion with you was that keeping flood inundation, some vegetation part of it, and also looking at expansion of the urban population and how it is. So you get a much larger and much more connected picture. So obviously the urban population is eating into the vegetation. The flooding is eating into maybe both the urban population and the. So it's a quite wide this thing scope dashboard or application that we can create. So yeah, we are very keen on doing that with you.
Yeah, yeah, no, no. The this, to be honest, like it could be expanded into various layers and everything, but the idea was to start with this one data layer, and then definitely there are other things to be included. For example, there is a meteorological layer as well. So you're looking at before the rainfall. There is generally a high humidity. There's generally a high temperature because there's a low pressure, and that could be used in predicting the upcoming. Obviously, Indian Meteorological Department does a fantastic job of giving information when there's going to be rain, and how much it's going to be and everything. But I think there is less information on the land. So the meteorological department gives you when it's gonna come and everything, but it doesn't have the information on land. So how much will be inundated? Where are the people? Who are the vulnerable people there? Can they be shifted to somewhere else? Those kinds of questions, those kind of query. Can which are the roads over in that highway will be disconnected after the flood, and how can we resume it before? How can we plan it before the floods? So these are data. These are the things which can be do as a flooding dashboard. But obviously, you can link again to cellular automata, to urban expansion, to deforestation, and so on and so forth. But to start with, the flood one wanted to keep it independent as of now. But then obviously we can have data layers which can combine with others, other data set, of course.
And you shared with me the this thing Google Earth, this thing, right? The GitHub, this thing. So I saw a lot of that code. So see, most of that code is Python. So we, for all of us, whether it is Rashri, for Aman, or anybody who's there, Python is not a challenge, and also R. So even MATLAB, Rashri. And Aman, obviously, both of them, they are here. So MATLAB is also not a challenge. So any of these things is not a challenge. But
Yeah.
taking these small steps along with you, wherein maybe you say first do the flood thing, then maybe do something else, that we guys can do. But competing with the big guys on the telecom enterprise part of it, I don't think so. That's possible for us. So yeah. So let's focus on
No
this.
problem.
Yeah, we can start off immediately. Absolutely no problem.
So what I will do, okay, no problem. The flood is fine. It's actually a general idea. We just came. I can code all of them. Coding is not a problem. Yeah, thank you. See, what I will do next for let's do the flood one. I agree. So for the first flood one, I will share the code on the first of all. You need to register on the Google Earth Engine website, right? In order to access that. So do that, and then I will share the code with you, which is in JavaScript. I have it in Java, but you can transform that to Python automatically also. There is this Chinese professor who built a package by which you can automatically convert the Java into Python based on what you use. But I have it in JavaScript. So I will send you that code on detect. It helps in detecting floods, water inundation after floods. So I will send you those that code. So that will be the beginning. um, um, and once you have that, once you really understand the code, and once you understand, and then we will go on exporting those data set from Google Earth Engine website, and then putting into our own environment and web development platform, in order to have in order to add different layers as well. But also we can do it in Google Earth Engine platform as well, because they also provide this web development, web app feature, which we can explore as well, because we are doing open source, so it's in the open source forum. So we can directly use the Google Earth Engine web development, app development feature which they have, which I have created a few web apps. So I have slight little bit experience. For me, coding is very much like copy pasting. So I find this thing here, find this thing there, and I merge it together. So I don't have much of coding experience at all. What I did for my PhD was just GitHub, Google, paste from others, and try to work it out for me by asking so many people. So yes, so I will send you the link of I will send you the link of that Google Earth Engine website, of the code of the API. What you need to do, click on that, and then look at it. And what we can do one day is that I can run through that code, um, the remote sensing or the geospatial part, not the coding part. I don't know, and I will not. So we can run through the code and then see. I can show you what's the map is showing. So I think interpretation is very much important to know that this is working or not. So I will explain the what the map is showing, and then once it's ready, I will show you what Google Earth Engine has to offer in terms of web app development. And if you think that that is something is easier, okay, fine, we go with Google. What is Google is providing, it's fine. Otherwise, we can export those data set from Google API, and then we can have our own if you think that that is also feasible. But what Google Earth Engine provides, that they already have those data layers uploaded. So with flood, if we want to put population, it's already there. If we want to put a rainfall, it's already there. If we want to put yeah, human footprint, digital elevation model is already uploaded in Google Cloud. So it becomes more easier for us to work with Google Earth Engine API and then make a web app through them. That's what I was aiming to say. Yeah, but I will share with that first of all that code, and I think one day I can go through explaining how Earth Engine works. But there are tons of videos, and the Chinese professor had made a package, and there is, I can share the tutorial page of Google Earth Engine. There is this edu tab, and they have tons of videos on how to supervise classification, how to do time series analysis, loads of video on YouTube. So there's a lot of help out there for geospatial with using Earth Engine. And there is another website by Ujjwal Gandhi, who was ex Google. I met him in Bangalore, and he has started his own company, which is called Spatial Thoughts, and he's just giving training on how to use QGIS and Earth Engine and calculating area. And I will just quickly, actually, I want to share that website with you all, so we can explore it. It's called Spatial Thoughts. Let me. Okay, there you go. So here it is. I'm sharing it on the chat. So he's ex Google, worked with Google Earth Engine development as well, and now he has his own, where he gives training on QGIS and training on various stuff. There's live training coming up, and he has self study courses as well on a lot of stuff. Please do explore it.
Yeah, I think I saw that earlier also. So he's been part of the team which has developed Google Earth Engine. So which is
I think not development, but he was part of outreach for Google Earth India, Earth Engine India. So he was part of the outreach of Earth Engine, but he knows a
okay.
lot, of course.
Yeah, so see, I'll be pretty straightforward with you. As far as using their API and other things is concerned, we can do that, not a problem. We are okay with JavaScript. We are okay with Python also. I've seen some of their code. It is not that difficult, and that is okay. Now, keeping that aside, let's say we were to do something with QGIS, just as an example. Okay, so QGIS itself is quite advanced, and if you can get data down from Google Earth Engine and you start manipulating within QGIS, that
Yes, you
itself will
can
give
do
you,
that.
yeah. So I tried some of those things. That itself will give you wonderful results. Also, the
Yeah,
Chinese professor, the one in Tennessee, I forget his name, but the
yeah,
one who's created that package, that package itself is quite advanced. So
yes,
yeah, so for us guys, for developers within Jupyter Notebook, if we can get such wonderful access, it is a
yeah.
very good thing for us. It's a wonderful thing
Yeah, no,
actually.
I have tried. Yeah, yeah, I have tried all those. I have practiced all those YouTube videos, all of them which he has done. I have done all those things on Jupyter Notebook. It's quite empowering, really. I have used a little bit on my PhD, but I will use more in my other research work. But it's. I agree with you. It's very advanced. It's very nice, and it makes life easier for me as a researcher to do simple coding and get my results out very easily. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah. So, and further from that, in case we invest time, so it will take some time. It will not get done that easily. But Python, Django, and GeoGIS. Okay, sorry. PostGIS. So that is Postgres SQL, and specific GIS packages are there for that. So these things are quite standard. So these things have been around for almost past 10, 15 years. Right.
Yes,
So, and also there are a lot of other Python libraries like PySal is there, and a whole lot of other things, which
there's
about two, three. Yeah.
GeoPandas. I have used GeoPandas. I have used OSM Annex, Context
Yeah.
Delete,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those are very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. So all those things are there, and those things I have, I've gone through most of those things. They are quite easy to use. They are quite user friendly
Yeah.
for developers. So
Yes.
if our requirement is not met just by the Google Earth Engine, whatever that is that we are offering, we can always
Yeah.
use these tools also. These tools are freely available, and most of
Yes.
them are
Yes.
quite well documented. Right?
Yes. Yes. No, you are right.
Yeah, even for things like lidar and all, if we get the proper lidar data, and which is those last files or .laz files and all that,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can use last tools. We can use all of this is open source and it is freely available. So it won't be such a big problem. So you just you just sketch it out, and the earlier maybe tomorrow, day after, whenever you have time, you can go ahead and share what is the thing that you have planned. We'll immediately
Okay.
start on that. You need not worry.
Okay.
That should be the
Okay.
problem.
Okay. Okay. And I think for me it would be good to share how do you sharing, like we share on an email or a WhatsApp group, or let me know what will be the
See,
best way of sharing.
what we do and what we have done earlier also is that we share things either on WhatsApp or in our Slack channel or whatever, and immediately we put it on GitHub.
Okay.
So our open source, this thing which is there, immediately we put things over there. So if you give me a second, I'll just share this thing with you. Share my screen. Uh, I don't know if you got a chance to see the. Did you get to see my GitHub this thing repository?
I did. Yes. Yes. I
You
did
did.
reposit definitely. Yeah.
Okay, right. So then, okay, all of you have seen it. That's okay. So then you can just, you can just go and have a look yourself. Uh, I'll just share the link here. This is the one that I'm talking about. So this is for the GIS one. And earlier also, the project that me and Rajshri were doing together, like 5, 6 of us were working together on that. There also we used to immediately do that only. So, and whenever you have some time, what we'll do is we'll help you understand few basic things that you need to understand about that. You can immediately yourself keep pushing code and pushing things over there. So you don't
Okay.
even have to
Okay.
share it with us, on Slack or WhatsApp or whatever.
Okay.
Whenever you have time, whenever you feel like sharing something with us, you directly share
Hmm.
over there. So it will come from your account. It comes from that is the proper way to
So
basically do it. Yeah.
okay. So I will create a folder. I will create a folder in here and then start sharing. Is that how you do?
Yeah. I'll help you do that. It will just take 5, 10 minutes. No big deal. So we'll create
Okay. Okay.
a folder specifically for you, saying that this is
Hmm.
a folder created by Dhritiraj, and then whatever
Okay.
you want, you can keep putting it over there. So the only
Perfect.
constraint being that a file
Perfect.
cannot be more than 60, 70 MB, because then it becomes a problem. Otherwise, 40 MB, 50 MB, you can put 10 files also over there. That's okay. So some of these TIFF files, some of these, raster files and all that, I was also trying to fool around with yesterday. They landed me into trouble because some of them were
Hmm.
of quite a large size, which we cannot.
Yeah.
So which is okay. Yeah. So the large files we can put it somewhere on on any this thing, on any cloud. Rest of it
Okay.
can be on absolutely no problem.
No, right now, for now, I just have like a JavaScript text file, which is very, very less. So I will upload those things, like the code and a few screenshot of how it looks like. I will start uploading those things, and then we can have another one meeting where I can explain what it looks like on a map. And once it's done, we can try doing so for India. So I know we all know the major flooding events in India. So Kerala last year, Mumbai in 2000 wherever, and then there is Assam floods. Um, so there's Chennai flood as well, and so they're quite very. There is a good record of when the floods have occurred. So what flood mapping really is an after and before scenario. So you take an image before the flood when there is a normal situation, and then you take an after flood. And what it really does is just abstract this. So you look at a difference of what has changed. It's a simple change detection analysis, but it's different when you are using a synthetic aperture radar or you're using a Landsat optical sensor. So it's different on a radar and an optical sensor of satellite. That's what the difference is all about. So I will
Absolutely
explain.
okay. That's a
Sorry.
wonderful plan. I said that's a wonderful plan. So let's do
Yeah.
that. Absolutely okay.
Yeah.
We can start off immediately understanding this from you and working on it. No problem.
Okay. So perfect. I will start sharing on that GitHub link on the GitHub website, and I will just remind you. I will send you a link as well, and email you as well once I upload.
Rajshri, Aman, anything you want to discuss right now? Otherwise, then we can close the call.
No, sir.
Uh, Rajshri, anything you want to discuss? Okay, so Dhritiraj, I think this should be good enough for now. And
Okay. I will
you
start
call,
sharing. I will start sharing.
yeah, and you call me whenever you can. So I'll just help you out with the folder part of it, and then
Okay.
absolutely on your own. Whenever you have time, whenever you have free time, you share it.
Yeah.
The moment you
Yeah.
share it, the rest of us guys will get an alert because we guys are already part of that.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're part of
Okay.
the
That's
team.
good.
Yeah, and
Okay.
we'll add
Okay.
you. I'll add you in that team, and immediately we'll be able to know that you shared anything with us. So yeah,
Perfect. 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 Okay.
great, perfect.
That works. That works for now.
So if you don't have anything else for us, then we can close the call. And thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for your time again, and congratulations once again. Yeah, and you owe us many beers now when we meet. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
yeah, that's beers for your PhD. I mean.
Sorry.
I said you owe us many beers for your PhD.
I cannot hear you. Your voice is cutting.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Thanks a lot for your time. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye.